Okay, Ben. Okay, so let's go to the agenda. Yeah, so
You wouldn't do current state first,
it
by the
seems
way?
at least it would warrant, regarding this Docker question, it would warrant knowing the scenario where we could perhaps just, as Steve was mentioning, uh, do the work in a Linux machine and get the results as an artifact, maybe. I don't know, but it's certainly worth exploring.
Yeah, if he wants to use a Linux container, might as well just use our Linux VMs directly.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense to me. So what I'll do is I'll respond back to him, and this is actually a really interesting point, not for this call, but maybe folks just need an understanding of how best to construct pipelines, which is not really our responsibility. But I see your point. I'll add a comment to. I'll respond back to Magus's comment. That helps me too. I know we jumped to number 2. Do we want to talk about number 1? I just copied the current state from the last agenda page. I don't know if you want to cover number 1 or let's move on to number 3.
Well, there's not many changes. We've just been provisioning VMs for customers. Nothing new happened to the base image.
Cool.
So yeah, we have like 3 customers onboarded, external.
Okay. And then I pinged a few folks last night, and a few folks responded back. So I'm starting to respond back to their pings and ping you as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So number 3, my question was, I know Pedro and Steve, both of you are pretty well versed in the whole image creation process. I just wanted to just kind of, if you can verbalize to me at a high level, kind of like image creation and management process for the PM who has been paying attention, kind of what that process looks like. I'm just, and the reason I'm asking that I'm starting to think about, and maybe Steve and Pedro, you already talked about it, thinking about like long term when we go to GA, how much work it is for us to maintain the image, like how flexible and how quick can we be to like add new capabilities to the image. I just want to understand kind of what's really going into the image management creation process right now.
Well, adding new stuff, it's the time to rebuild. Do you mean in terms of CI build or the developer work to add new things to the?
Yeah, the developer that works. So say you were onboarding a brand new engineer to the runner team and you said, hey, you're responsible for updating our Mac OS image. And what does that person actually have to do to add something? Let's say we had to add Xcode 12 GA to the image. Like, what does that person actually have to do to get all that stuff done?
Okay, so if there's a new version of Xcode, basically that person has to log in with his account to the Apple developer website, download the intended version of Xcode, and then upload it to our GCP storage account. Once it's there, it's just a question of adding a new YAML file for this specific version of the Xcode. It's basically 3 lines of YAML code that you put in a specific directory. And so you have this merge requests, and once the merge request is merged, you'll have a VM image with this new Xcode version.
And to go a bit more in detail, let's say if we want to put it as a job description, right? What we want in a job description would be the user, like the developer needs to know Ansible, GitLab CI, and that's pretty much it. And then some bash scripts, because everything is automated through Ansible, and it's just building, like, let's say, hey, we want to change the GitLab runner username to something else. It's a matter of updating the Ansible script to do so.
I think also, Ansible knowledge is not really. I think what is more important is knowing the macOS system, how the OS works. Ansible knowledge, you can quickly, by looking at the other files, how they're structured, you can pick it up relatively quickly. But I noticed that what ended up taking more time is how to get the user set up, the user account set up on Mac with the certain rights, and so yeah, that's the part that takes more time in setting up the image.
And my last kind of question just for today, and we probably have a full-on conversations on this. I know we're still obviously in the beginning of closed beta. Today, can I assume that we are, in terms of that process you just described, hey, I go into to the Apple Store, I download Xcode 12, I do go through the process, I push it out. Are we updating the one VM image that we're then using to build to spin up for the customers? Is it one VM image when we make those updates, or do we have like multiple
We
VM
have
images?
one VM image per Xcode version.
One VM image. Okay, so we do have the flexibility. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're gonna, I still have to create the issue for this. But last time me and Belter discussed the way to version them. So we're gonna follow the same versioning scheme we do on Windows and on our Linux runners. Basically, every time we merge on master, we will have some manual jobs which we call published. And then this basically will create a VM, an image in Orca with the date timestamp. So imagine 2020 09 28, right? And then users will use that image. And this gives us a way to slowly upgrade. Like it can be manually or through the autoscaler. So in the autoscaler for Windows, we specify what image to use, right, from GCP. And this will work the same. Like we specify, hey, for new jobs, use the image with this name. And like that, we can properly tag them and roll them out.
Okay, brilliant. All right, cool. That's all the questions I have for today on this one. Thanks. That helps a lot.
Okay, so I haven't read your point 4. I'm going through it now. Okay. So on point 5, it's a simple question. As I was provisioning today's VM, I noticed that we're still using 13.1.1 for the GitLab runner. Should we use a more recent version?
Since we only use it for artifact and cache uploading, like I would not
Okay,
bother for
it's
now.
not okay.
But like it's a small change as well. So like
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth the time to update it for now. We can update it once in a while.
Okay. Yeah. So, are there any more subjects to cover, or any last questions? Okay. So we're done for this week. Stop the recording.